All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. The info session for today is on our introduction for our part-time data science bootcamp at WeCloudData. We do have a part-time bootcamp for data science in both the Eastern time zone and our upcoming one for the Pacific time zone. So we're going to be talking a bit about that today. I do have some other topics that I'll be going into as well, but let me just quickly introduce myself first. So my name is Sonia. I'm the data science program manager at WeCloudData, which is a data training school since 2015 and also a career service provider. In my role, I work closely with the faculty to deliver a smooth learning experience for our data science students from pre-bootcamp all the way until career mentorship, and I also oversee student development. So I do tend to talk with them quite often about a career in data science and also why the skills or tools that they're learning are so important. So I'm going to be also going over that with you today. Another fun fact about me, I am a double major in statistics and cognitive science from U of T, and I also worked as a teaching assistant previously. So if you'd like to connect and expand your data science circle, feel free to add me on LinkedIn at this link here. If you have questions, you can also feel free to reach out through my email. I do have one of our program advisors, Amir, here tonight. So he's just going to give a very short presentation about the program. Amir, are you ready to start your part?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. This is Amir, and as Sonia mentioned, I'm going to quickly walk you through some details about our company, WeCloudData. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Awesome. So our company, WeCloudData, is an accredited college in Canada that has been helping a lot of students in Canada and the US and all around the world to learn all the essential skills for different data related jobs and be able to land it through a career service that we offer by vCareer. We also helped many companies through corporate training and consultancy, which makes us a great training company because we truly understand the market demand and we help you with whatever is needed and nothing more, nothing less. So today I would like to quickly walk you through a student's journey at WeCloudData. Whoever is curious to know, not necessarily making a decision regarding taking a training, we help them as program advisors to find out about our learning path and also the demand in the market to make sure you know what you have to do in terms of the technical skills. Once we find the best option, we connect you with our program managers to give you more details about the program and all the technical stuff. We offer hands-on projects to make sure that the students had enough experience to be able to land the job. We offer 5 learning paths that you can get to know more on the website. Data science is one of the most dominant programs with the highest placement rate so far because we have been offering this since day one, and you can definitely get to know more today. We offer real business projects to our students to make sure they're landing a job in the shortest time frame. This is definitely a great experience for you to be able to learn and work in a real environment. These projects comes through our consultancy that works with Fortune 500 and smaller companies and startups. So you definitely can have something that not a single university graduate can have in terms of like the real experience, along with a job offer through a 6 months career service that, as I mentioned, comes with all of the boot camps. This includes your resume and portfolio, mock interviews, and direct referrals to our partners. We have more than 100 hiring partners in North America with 95% placement rate on average for all the boot camps. So you can get to know more about some of our previous graduates through our LinkedIn page. This is not all, but some of the clients that we have been working with, and many of our previous graduates could really ended up working in one of these companies through our boot camps. Again, the great value that WeCloudData offers through their training is the fact that it's role-based. So this is not something to just help you with technical skills or experience of working on projects. It's like the entire journey for you to take and be able to land a job. I would be more than happy to help you to answer your questions and make sure you ended up going with the right path. So feel free to take a picture from my contact information or get to know about previous graduates. You can scan the QR codes from all these different companies that we are all 5 out of 5 rating and get to know more about us. So I'm looking forward to hear back from you guys, and I'm here to help and happy to help you. I will pass it to you, Sonia. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Amir. I'm just going to share my screen again. Okay, so here's the agenda for today, everyone. So the topics that I'll be going over is going to start off with an intro to data science, as well as its job market across Canada. I'll also be sharing various paths that you could take for your learning journey, and then also speak about how my colleagues have helped over 300 students land data jobs. And then lastly, I'll also share some more details about our part-time data science program that we have that will help you take your first step towards a data science career. I know some of you may have also attended our previous sessions, which dove deeper into these topics. So today's will be just more focused on the highlights. So with every single passing moment, a mind-boggling amount of data is generated. And it said by 2025, we're expected to produce 463 exabytes. So that amount is actually 463 billion gigabytes globally per day. So for a bit of context, scrolling on TikTok for about an hour will use up like 1 gigabyte of cellular data. So this would be like the equivalent of scrolling nonstop for almost 53 million years. So that would bring us back to like when dinosaurs went extinct. But it's inevitable with so much data being generated that a whole lot of it goes unused. And you can see that reflected in this infographic here. They have called this the data value gap here. So although the current value derived from data is slowly increasing with time, it can't keep up with the amount of volume that we generate. So this gap occurs because we know that there is a potential derived value from this data that could be much, much higher. Also, according to a Forrester report in 2019, between 60 and 73% of all data within an enterprise goes unused for analytics. And at an age where deeper and more actionable insights, especially the ones about customers, are becoming an absolute competitive necessity, many companies are really needing to step up their data-driven initiatives. So since data by itself, like when you initially get it, is unprocessed and messy, it does have to be processed properly with business context to be able to be arrived with the required answers. So the idea of using data is essentially to be able to channel from multiple sources of raw data to arrive at a unified answer to business problems. To that extent, a business does require different types of talents that are able to support this process. So from like collecting relevant data and processing the structure of the data to better fit the business's needs and apply the different data processing techniques to arrive at the answer. So this is where like a lot of different data roles come in. So for example, like data scientists, data analysts, data engineers, DevOps engineers, a lot of different roles are required. However, the lack of sufficient data skills within a company, but also the shortage of tech workers in the industry is the main obstacle that's hindering a lot of companies from becoming more data reliant and pursuing data initiatives. So if, in my opinion, if there is a higher data literacy in the industry, more businesses would be able to rely on analytical ventures using the data that has already been retained by the businesses. So this is one of the reasons why, although you may have noticed that like some companies might not be hiring at this time, there are still many more that are still recruiting data professionals in particular, because they want to grow their businesses. And then, because of the shortage of tech workers, the demand and pay scale of these skilled roles are also going up. So it's important to note here that data drives smart decisions. So this image here just visualizes how after collecting the data that you have, analytics plays a key role in bringing it all together and then allowing you to make strong and informed business decisions. So this is what the process of a data scientist would be doing. So you might be curious what tools you could use as a future data professional or data scientist to be able to do this. Currently, the most popular programming languages are Python or R, but I have seen Julia starting to be on the rise as well. Python is currently one of the top languages, and I'll go into this in more depth in a couple of slides later, but it is a relatively easy language to learn, and then it also does offer many libraries so that you can perform your analysis. So it's like you can think of it like a general all-purpose type of language since it has so many capabilities. R here is another language that you may see in data science job descriptions. It's widely used in statistics and academia. Currently, Python is more popular than R in data science since the focus of data science tends to be more on data processing, but also because I think in comparison to R, it's a more user-friendly language. So in this image shown, we have created a visual representation of what the workflow for various data roles would look like and how their roles interact with each other. So you'll see here the data scientist responsibilities actually overlaps quite a lot with the other data teams here. So without data scientists, their work will fall upon other teams to be able to analyze the data, produce machine learning models, and also to make batch predictions. But if you think of in terms of data maturity, which is basically how far along a company is in actually using their data to produce actual insights. In terms of data maturity, it's much likelier for a company to form a business intelligence or data analytics team as well as a data science team before machine learning engineers, because they usually require much more investment. Meaning without the data scientist, that does mean that most likely there won't be anyone to do it, or you would be asking like analysts to do jobs which aren't quite in the scope of their role. So here, I did want to just quickly go over like the work deliverables of a data scientist, and then also talk about like the different types of jobs, and then, like how you could go about doing this career switch. So for a data scientist, their daily tasks will revolve around working with data and communicating data solutions with a wide range of stakeholders. So for example, some data-related tasks include analyzing the data and looking for patterns or trends that will help guide business decisions later on. So some parts might include like developing and testing new machine learning models that will help the business simplify data problems and also improve functionality. They may also make batch predictions, which is used for making predictions on a large amount of data. So usually, for example, they'll use like a tool like Spark to be able to generate these predictions. So during this process, there'll always be communication between the data scientist and the stakeholder to determine what the scope of the problem is. And then these requirements also might be determined by like the business intelligence professionals and the stakeholder as well. So a lot of this communication will involve people who might not be as familiar with the technical aspects. So it is the job of the data scientist to ensure that the clients understand the implications behind their decisions by communicating clearly and also just making sure to use plain language. Many of you may also be looking to transition from a data analytics role to data science as well, which I'll discuss in a couple of slides. Because usually the students who take our part-time program are like either they're recent graduates from university, for example, or they might be like working in the industry already, but they want to learn more programming skills. So I'll go over that in the next few slides. For here, I'm going to start talking about the data science job market, just a quick summary. And then again, for those who might have missed it, afterwards, I'll go over the bootcamp landscape, so different learning options, how our bootcamp helps our students land data science jobs. And then lastly, we'll also talk about the part-time data science bootcamp and the learning journey. So with regards to the job market in Canada, there's many industries currently seeing growth in their data science teams. So for example, like finance and financial teams and banking services, healthcare, technology, e-commerce, social media, just to name a few. In Gartner's 2021 Emerging Technology Product Leader Survey, cloud computing, AI, and software ranked as the top 3 investment areas for companies investing in data and analytics. And then in data science, the cloud computing does allow for like more storage space, software programs, or other computing resources to be accessed from a cloud service provider, which is great because it does mean that there is higher flexibility, less maintenance required, and then also a higher level of security. So very useful skills to learn as a data scientist as well. And then machine learning and artificial intelligence support data management, application development, and also drives insight sharing. So the reason for investing in these areas is also just to reiterate, to support decision-making and encourage adaptive data. Now, in terms of data jobs in Canada, a large proportion of them are still in the GTA, so Greater Toronto Area. And this is also reflected in our student database. Though being a Toronto-based training school, many are likely to find jobs as they live here as well. We have had more students joining us from the West Coast recently, so from like Vancouver, Alberta, or like in the US, for example, and then they tend to find jobs where they're currently living as well. So one of the reasons why we do see this particular pattern, though, is because the GTA is one of North America's fastest growing tech markets with lots of local talents. And it's actually second to largest in terms of growth. So just behind Seattle, which is also on the West Coast. Vancouver is also starting to become a part of this tech hub as well as Montreal. So Vancouver in particular is home to many innovative startups in different industries, ranging from like finance, biotech and health, or virtual assistants, just to name a few. And it comes just after Toronto for growth in the tech market. In terms of experience requirement, many companies are looking for people to fill in more of the intermediate roles. So they may ask for like around 4 to 5 years of experience. But there are like a large proportion of companies that are also asking for 1 to 3 years of experience. So if you're currently looking at like applying for different data science jobs right now, I would still suggest applying even as long as you're interested in the position to just go for it and send your application in, even if you don't have the years of experience. Because sometimes like, you know, they might call you in for the interview and it does tend to depend more on like your like what experience you currently have, despite the number of years, and then, you know, what project or portfolio projects you might have if you don't have experience. You're probably also interested in what skills hiring companies are looking for. So for those of you who might be data analysts right now, for data analysts, SQL, Python, and Tableau are the top seeked out skills. For those who might not be familiar with these tools, SQL lets analysts retrieve and manipulate data in a database. So it's a very powerful and accessible language for database management systems. Python is also quite popular. It's a general purpose language and provides a lot of functionality for people to do analysis using stats and machine learning models through the various different packages like pandas, numpy, scipy, and scikit-learn. Lastly, Tableau is a data visualization tool used to prepare dashboards and share insights. Data scientists also use this as well. For companies which might not have reached like higher data maturity yet, or they're like very used to their current tools. For example, like if they have larger teams that they need to train, they might still be using a lot of the legacy technologies. So for example, like Excel. So it's still useful to learn that as well for analytical positions. So in our part-time data science bootcamp, we do often have students, like I mentioned, who are already data professionals, but are looking to upskill themselves. So for example, they want to learn more programming tools, or they want to learn about big data as well and how to handle these large amounts, or just to get their hands on more experience. So compared to data scientists, data analytics is a more specific discipline in which their aim is to inform business decision-making through like collecting, analyzing, and drawing specific insights from structured data. So for data analysts, their responsibilities for most positions does tend to be less coding heavy. So usually this is like the main topic of focus if you're looking to switch from data analytics to data science. If you're currently thinking about doing this switch, I'd recommend for you to currently think about what analytical skills you currently have and then build upon that. So for example, like problem solving skills, proficiency in using Excel, strong communication, analytics, and data visualization skills, as well as your domain knowledge will all be very useful if you're looking to switch. Then for data scientists, here are the most frequently asked skills. So in addition to having the analytical skills and mindset, data scientists do need to have a deep understanding of data languages like Python or R. So you would also need to know about relational databases, so working with SQL, and then big data tools as well. So tools like Spark, Hadoop, AWS are all things that you would need to be able to use. And then also machine learning algorithms like regression, classification, trees, clustering. As a data scientist, you would also need to know how to create data visualizations. So you can also use programming languages to do that, or you can use like a dashboard building tool like Tableau or Power BI. So like if you're using Python to create your data visualizations, you can use packages like Matplotlib, Seaborn, or Plotly, just to name a few. I do want to mention to learn these skills because as you can see, there's quite a lot. This transition doesn't happen overnight. But with every experience, and what you do to learn them will certainly help you in your journey. So as mentioned, you'll want to start off with learning like a programming language. In my opinion, Python has a very straightforward syntax, so it's relatively easier to pick up, and it's also widely used in the data science industry. And then also just challenge yourself and try out many projects and exercises. I would also suggest reading about machine learning algorithms or current events. And then you can also apply what you've learned to different projects. So if you're new to this and you want to know where you can find like project ideas, you can also just search on Google, but Kaggle has a lot of them if you're just starting out. So Kaggle is spelled Kaggle. Another couple of steps would be to follow updates in the field as it's constantly changing. So you'll see the latest developments and also just get a better understanding of what's happening. I'll be sharing a couple of learning options after as well, but taking a structured course, whether it's like a open online course or YouTube playlist, masters or bootcamp, any of these, depending on what your priorities are, will help you stay on track and show that you're serious about moving into the field. Lastly, creating a portfolio and building your network will also help you stand out. A portfolio in the data field will allow you to showcase your skill set and interests. And then having a network as well is also great because then you can get a lot of support and advice from other people. And they might even let you know of job openings that you can apply to also. Okay, so for this part, I wanted to talk about a couple of different, or at least the main data science jobs that you may see in job postings online. So you will notice that like as you're looking through these postings, machine learning is a part of the responsibilities of a data scientist. And then a data scientist does need to be also good at SQL, visualization, and communications. So the first one, an operational data scientist is what many people think of when they think of a data scientist. So the role of the operational data scientist is that mainly they'll be working and cleaning data sets. They'll be manipulating and transforming it and also building predictive models. So their strength is in being able to handle the data, liaise between different departments, and also their domain knowledge. Machine learning researchers is another type of data scientist, although more specialized. So they're specialists in their particular field, and then the main focus for them would be on algorithm development and research. Machine learning engineers are also more specialized compared to operational data scientists. So their focus is more on the model deployment end and maintenance, and also building data pipelines. So they do have stronger coding skills and knowledge of machine learning algorithms, platforms, and tools. Lastly, I have data science product managers, specifically product managers here at least, but there's also the people type of manager as well. So data science product managers will focus on building business strategies, the communication between teams and stakeholders, and project management. So you will need to have a good product sense and domain knowledge, as well as the data science acumen. Now that we've finished talking about a couple of different roles, I do want to touch upon the salary. So for junior roles for data science jobs, you'll see here, on the lower end of things, you might see like data scientist roles around like 55,000. I've actually seen a bit higher than that. I think that's 65,000, which makes more sense. And it's a bit higher compared to software engineer. For the average, the data scientist will earn around 87,000. And then for the higher end of things, perhaps after you've gotten a few years of experience, then it's around 111,000. On average, our students after graduating from the program, they will earn around 80,000. And then the amount that they earn does change as they go further along in the job. So like, for example, after they've worked like a year or a year and a half. Here I have it for senior roles. So, if you have like some experience in the data field already, or you have strong programming skills, you might be able to land like a more senior role from here. So on average, it's more around, I would say like around 90 to 100K, and then it can go quite high. So for example, on the higher end of things, it could be around 150,000. Some people might be earning a bit more as well because they have bonuses added on top of that too. But on average, for our students who have landed senior roles, it tends to be around 100,000 Canadian. So now I'd like to talk about the bootcamp landscape. So a couple of different options that I'd like to share with you guys on how you can, if you're looking to move into data science from like a different role, how you can go about that. So there's many different paths that you can take in pursuit of more education. The ones in particular I'll talk about today are master's programs, massive open online courses, continuing education, and also boot camps. So master's program is, I think, what most people tend to think of when they want to pursue higher education. It is the most prestigious among the ones that I have listed, but it does also have the highest admission criteria. Typically, it does have a longer duration because there's quite a few courses that you'll need to take. So typically around 1 to 2 years, and the curriculum is a bit longer. And it does emphasize more on the theory and cultivating the research ability. So it does typically cost more, and students usually plan ahead so that they're not in a huge rush to land a job. And then usually the graduates from master's programs are more favored by the big tech companies. Here I have massive open online courses. So for example, like Coursera or edX, for example, these ones make online education more accessible for everyone. It does have the lowest admission criteria because usually you can just like register and join the course. The duration of these courses are usually much shorter and self-paced, and it does take longer if you want to get a job from it. So for this, I would suggest it if you're like just learning or wanting to see if this is something that you want to go into and you want to kind of dip your toes in and see what it's about. The thing with open online courses is that it doesn't really enforce the academic rigor. I know because I've registered for quite a lot, but I haven't actually completed them. But learners for these are usually very self-motivated, which is what allows them to complete it. But if you're in need of more structure or support, then you might want to consider the other options because for this one, it can be quite hard to follow if you're not very motivated. So as I mentioned, open online courses are great if you're looking to upskill yourself. So like, let's say you already have the skills already and you're just looking for upskilling a particular skill. Or if you're wanting to learn more to prepare for a formal program. Here I have continuing education programs. So these are usually offered by like universities or college, for example. It's not quite the level of a master's. It's usually like one that you can take like after undergrad, for example. I think it depends on which universities. But these ones are usually favored by full-time work professionals who want to upskill themselves. So usually it covers more of the practical skills that are more tailored to current job market demands, and the duration is shorter than a master's, but usually longer than a bootcamp. So I think usually around 1 year or so. The tuition is lower than a master's and boot camps. And then usually these students do want to achieve their goals. So for example, if you want to get a promotion or you want to switch careers, usually it'll be done over the course of like 1 to 3 years. Lastly, I have boot camps here. And these are typically favored by people who are full-time job seekers and university graduates. So usually these students really have a strong sense of urgency to get employed. And that's the reason that they join boot camps, because these programs are much shorter, 3 to 6 months usually, which is one of the more appealing points. The application process is much easier compared to master's programs. And then usually these students would expect a higher level of service and support. So like, for example, attending TA office hours. Usually you will help them daily, for example, and then instructors can also help you on the projects as well with scoping it. You could note that not all employers may favor bootcamp graduates, but bootcamps do provide better career support. So here is a summary of all of the different learning paths that I have mentioned. So each one of them do have their own strengths, and ultimately the choice that you decide on should depend on your priorities. For example, if you are in pursuit of higher education and can devote the 1 to 2 years on it, master's program could be a good fit for you. On the other hand, if you're interested in dipping your toes into the field or upskilling, then open online courses and continuing education is great for that. And if you want to be more focused on learning the hands-on skills and need to get a job soon, then a bootcamp could be good for you. So like Amir mentioned earlier, if you're interested in learning what kind of like tools and stuff or what program suits you well, you can feel free to contact him. We can also share his details later today, or sorry, I think an email will get sent out later. But for now, I'll just move on to the rest of the presentation. I do see Amir shared our website too there, so you can also take a look through that. We also have career guides so that, you can learn about basically things that I have covered today. You can read more about the different data positions and then see which one suits you well. In the interest of time, I'm going to quickly click on all of these. So another summary. So typically the training level includes these different learning options. For colleges, boot camps, and our program as well, we do have portfolio projects. And then for career advising, I would say like the more personal support would be on like the boot camps or for our program as well. So we do have industry mentors. Basically, they are people in the industry who are currently working as like data scientists, data analysts, data engineers. Some of them are hiring managers as well. And then they help our students with preparing for a job. So for example, things like career mentorship, they will do things like go over your resume, help you prepare it, help you prepare for mock interviews. If you need advice on how to like apply for different jobs or just need like support with structuring it, they'll also be able to help support you in that aspect too. So having a mentor is very important, I think, when you're searching for a new job, because they can also help you minimize the time spent for it, because basically they can help you get that information from the source. Lastly, regarding experience, we do have real client projects. So these are where our students get to work on a team with other students, a project lead and project manager, and they work on creating data solutions for the problems that our clients who we partnered up with in the industry to solve these problems. So they gain a lot of experience from that, and then a lot of confidence as well. So we will go more in depth for that. I will move on to the next slide in the interest of time. And then here I just have a comparison. So I assume since you're here, you guys are all interested in pursuing more education to make the transition into data science. So I have a comparison between like master's as well as our bootcamp here. This one, the numbers in particular are for our full-time program. So like 3 months of immersive learning and then 9 months of training and doing projects and career mentorship. But the part-time program is very similar. It's 6 months for the learning part. So 2 lectures a week. I'll go over the schedule in a moment. And then we also have like another 6 months. So like this one for career mentorship or the real client projects. So tuition for the part-time program is $10,000 Canadian. And then if you're interested in real client projects, there's a slightly higher tuition as well. So placement rate for our data science bootcamp graduates is 95% after 6 months of searching. And the average base salary is 84,000 Canadian. The salary range is from 55K to 120K. And a couple of things to note here is that with the bootcamp, there is a shorter time to the job offer because you have the support of the career mentorship mentors as well. It's a quarter of the tuition of like a typical master's, and then you do have a higher base salary coming out of the program. So here I'm going to hand it off to Xiaohua to speak on how our bootcamp helps data science students land data science jobs.
Okay, thanks, Sonia. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to focus on, how WeCloudData's data science bootcamp can help you land a data science job. So first of all, of course, we are a training academy. So we offer training courses. So I think Amir and Sonia have introduced, at the beginning that we have different programs. The focus tonight is on the data science program. In terms of the delivery mode, we have 3 months immersive program, which is a typical boot camp, but we also have the 6 months part-time program for students who have a full-time job who cannot devote their time to learn on a full-time basis to still have access to the best training resources. In terms of the availability, if you want to learn with WeCloudData, we are currently available on the West Coast. So we're actually starting to offer West Coast, boot camps starting this November. And we also have, courses, boot camps offered on the East Coast and also in the Central region. On the West Coast, the courses will be mainly delivered online. For all the courses, we start at the end of the year, 2022. And next year, we will also have online, offline mixed delivery mode. So all of these courses, if they're offered online, you will be able to access that, from, many, different cities on the West Coast, like Vancouver, Calgary, Seattle, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Starting this November and December, we will offer business intelligence bootcamp, data science bootcamp part-time, and also our part-time data engineering bootcamp. We will add more courses later, in the spring next year. Um, and on the East Coast, we have courses offered, of course, in Toronto, in the Chicago, New York, and Boston region. If you're learning online with WeCloudData, we have a lot of students from the from the United States as well. And all 5 programs are available on the East Coast time zone. And right now, all the programs are delivered online. And again, starting next year, we'll have online, offline mixed delivery mode. In terms of the student base, 70% of our students are from STEM background, but that also means that quite significant number of students are actually coming from business, right, non-STEM background. So these students, they are, haven't done any coding in the past, but we have, very good support to help students to pick up programming skills, the basic foundations in the pre-boot camp. And students after enrollment, the pre-boot camp, is depending on like your time and availability, it can be available for 2 to 3 months for free. And then once the boot camp start, the student will receive a lot of support from our teaching assistants and also instructors. I think Sonia talked about, the some of the key factors, right, of successfully landing a data science job, and choosing boot camps. Of course, people will have different demands. Well, in terms of WeCloudData student space, most of the students are looking for career switch, especially in the full-time and part-time data science programs. Some of the students in our DevOps program and also machine learning engineering programs, they're probably looking for upskilling themselves. Some of them are looking for career switch as well. Many of the students are changing fields, and not many students actually have strong coding background. So that's one of our advantages, which is we help students to build a strong programming foundation. And most of the students joining a boot camp, they probably have, a sense of urgency because they want to get a job, for example, within 6 to 12 months. And students in the part-time program, their timeline is usually 9 to 12 or 15 months. So a year to a year and a half, they're hoping to make the switch. But if you do have the time and you prefer to go back to universities to get a master's degree, that's probably going to take longer. But in terms of the total package we offer, including career mentorship and also live projects, I think you're going to have a much better chance of landing a job within 12 months if you go with WeCloudData's bootcamp. And this is the learning journey, and Sonia will spend some time at the end to introduce, how we support the student, what do we mean by pre-boot camp, and the kind of, support you're going to get after the boot camp. Um, I'm going to talk about how, WeCloudData can help students land data science jobs, or our differentiators, because there are a lot of boot camps out there. Well, first of all, we did some survey to a lot of the community members. So a lot of the members in our community or people attending our online webinars, we asked them questions about, for example, how many interviews have you received, and the timeline, or how many of them got data science offers. And it turns out that, well, this survey was done during COVID. And it turns out that, 76% of the members we surveyed, they received less than one interviews. Uh, and about 20% of them received 2 to 4 interviews. And very few people got more than 5 interviews. And actually, the number of students getting more than 5 interviews with WeCloudData is significantly higher. I'll show you some of the numbers. But what I would like to explain here is that then we asked these community members or event attendees what are or were the biggest challenges in landing a data science job, and many of them indicate that, well, they either don't have the skills, right, the right skills, or 73% of them saying that they don't really have real experience, right? It's a sort of chicken and egg situation. So it will be really hard to get data science experience on your resume if you don't work as a data scientist, right? I think this is one of the challenges that WeCloudData can really help, our students solve, and I'll explain why. And many of the students also said they don't have a portfolio, and some of them said they couldn't pass interviews. And unfortunately, if you go back to school, universities, you don't really get this kind of support and results from a university program. So WeCloudData, as a bootcamp, of course, we focus very much on portfolio project building. Just like any other boot camps, we allow students to work on, 2 to 3 or even more, portfolio projects throughout the entire boot camp. Um, so for machine learning course, student will build 1 to 2, projects. For big data, student has one end-to-end big data project as well, and student also has, data science or Python programming related, projects. And after graduation, the students, when they work with our career mentor, they get mentorship on, portfolio project review, and also some of the mentors will help the student or guide the students to build more, portfolio projects as well. Um, I think as Amir mentioned earlier, WeCloudData also offer live and real client project opportunity for our students in the data science, full-time bootcamp. And students in the part-time data science program also has the option to get enrolled in the client project, course. So this is WeCloudData's unique strength and advantage. The students will actually work with our consulting company. They will get mentored by our project managers and project lead, technical lead, and students also go through the project onboarding training, which is very different from the bootcamp. Bootcamp itself, even though it's intended to be very practical and teach students, skills and work on projects, but those are still considered as an academic project, by WeCloudData's definition. Those projects are hard to be turned into, you know, um, experience or real experience on the resume. So to solve this problem, so we offer training and mentorship on the real client project. So students actually join a real project to work with the client directly. So they not only accumulate, um, practice experience and help the client to actually solve data science challenges, but they also try to, get an opportunity to improve their soft skills. For example, communicating with the clients, explaining things, and get immersed in agile project management. From a data science perspective. So no more Kaggle competition, because 95% of the people, when they work on real client work on portfolio projects, it's basically Kaggle data set. It's not very helpful because everyone has Kaggle on their resume. It's not going to help them get a job easily, because it's super saturated in the job market. Pretty much 90% of the resumes will have some sort of Kaggle projects. That's part of the learning, but it doesn't really show real life experience. Um, and the real project, of course, from a job search perspective, it allows you to add real experience on your resume. I think that's probably the most important part, which is when you look at a typical resume, on the top, you will see skill sets and also work experience. Most of the career switchers, they don't have data science experience on their resume. This is exactly what WeCloudData's program can offer, because after you work on the real projects, you will have basically real experience on the resume. And because of these are real projects, we help with job reference as well. So a lot of times the employers will be calling our project managers and sometimes even the client to help you do testimonials or help you with the reference check, just to prove that these are real projects. And that will set our students apart from other candidates. And you basically, if you look at this resume, this is a PhD student who graduated, before the COVID, and this student basically only had teaching assistant experience. With this resume, it will be hard to find a data science job. Unless her background is from data science. She actually had stats background, but in this case, we helped her to put 2 real projects on the resume. One with our consultancy Beam Data. We also connected the students with another consulting company called iFuture. So the student worked on the real life click-through rate prediction for a mobile advertising company, which is a pretty cool project. And the student got 1 interview and got the offer right away. So this shows you the power of real projects. It's very different from Kaggle projects. So some of these will be the Kaggle projects, but it's not going to help you that much in today's job market. It's actually very different from 3 years ago. All right. So in terms of the career support, a lot of members that we interviewed, they said they couldn't pass the interview. Right, 15% of them said they were having challenges passing the interview, but a lot of them actually didn't get any interviews. So some real number I would like to show: WeCloudData's alumni. 42% of them can get more than 5 interviews. A lot of students, they have like 4 or 5 interviews during a week. This doesn't happen very often, but it happened a couple of times. So the student got so busy that they had to do 3 take-home assignments in a week, and that's very stressful. And sometimes they have to drop 1 or 2 projects so that they can focus on the one that they think they'll have a better chance at. And that is a little bit annoying when it comes to data science interviews, because it's kind of hard to prove that you can actually get the work done. Everyone can show certificate, and can show Kaggle experience, but companies want to know how you can deal with real life data, right? So a lot of companies will give take-home assignments, and students will need to, or candidates will have to complete those and even prepare a presentation. Yeah, that does take a lot of time and effort, but we do have industry mentors to provide you guidance and help you to go through the process, even though they cannot help you with the test. All right. So, and also, I have some suggestions to career switchers or people who are new to data science. If you're thinking about getting into data science right now, or if you're in, you just graduated from a boot camp maybe, and you are in the job market searching for jobs. And I just want to help set some expectations. First of all, career switch to data science is not easy. If you have never done coding before, be prepared to devote hours into learning. It's very time consuming, but I think it's going to be very rewarding if you get a data science job, because you completely change your career path, and data science is a very promising career path. And doing research is also very important when it comes to job search. So you need to know the companies, read a lot of job descriptions. You also need to understand how well your experience and your resume, right, can match up against all of those, job requirements. Even though a lot of times the job requirements can be, a little bit misleading because companies tend to ask for everything. So doing more research means that, over time, you're going to get better and better at understanding what exactly the job description is asking for. So you'll be able to sift through a lot of those noises and become better at knowing like what exactly the company needs. Following a structured curriculum is very important, as Sonia mentioned earlier. Even if you're not joining a boot camp, you would like to self-learn through online resources. You would definitely need to follow a very structured curriculum because that helps you save time and focus on the things that matter. You can read a ton of blog posts and people making different suggestions, and very soon you realize that you get overwhelmed because if you Google something and that leads you to 10 other pages and 100 other pages, so sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming and hard to get focused, right? Because you have to take in so much information. But really, like, you just need a structured curriculum. You focus on it. Make sure you take advantage of all your quality time to focus on the learning, and don't waste time. Um, yeah, if you are interested in boot camps, you can always book a time with us to have a free trial, to see how we actually, teach students. You get to learn more about the instructor's teaching style. But I think with WeCloudData, the most valuable thing you're going to get out of it is the real project. So we will have, free trials and open classes later to introduce, some of the real life use cases and how, our students get to work on real projects. Or you can always talk to our learning advisors, Warnie, Amir, if you have questions. Getting a mentor is also very important. It doesn't mean you have to pay for mentorship service. With WeCloudData's Data Science Bootcamp, it's always included. You're going to get 6 months of career mentorship, but we do support students until they get a job, because we really want to see the student, become successful in job search. But you can also, do more networking. Now COVID is almost at the end, right? So you will be able to meet people offline or reach out to people that you admire or people that are more experienced in this field through LinkedIn. And see if people are willing to give you some suggestions. And a lot of people will think that, people don't are not willing to spend the time, but actually I've known a lot of people who are willing to give back because they've gone through the same process maybe 3-5 years ago, and they've probably received some help from other mentors as well, so they're willing to help. Yeah, definitely reach out to the right people and receive some support throughout the process. And of course, work on hands-on projects. And with WeCloudData, we can even work on the real life projects. Building portfolio is also very important, but don't just publish your code to GitHub. Make sure that you can write a project summary, and make sure that you can even publish that on Medium, right? So it gets more exposure. And when you do networking and reach out to employers, you can share the link of your portfolio or project summary. And that's gonna, increase the chance of getting interviews. So it's a lot of different efforts you need to make in order to, make this happen. And if you really want to save time, I think WeCloudData will be one of the best options. And keep applying for jobs because we've worked with a lot of students. Sometimes at the very beginning of their job search journey, they got frustrated, and then when we asked them, why are you struggling, and then after talking to the students, we realized that they only applied for 20-30 jobs, and they started to panic. They think that they're not good enough, they don't have enough confidence. But the job market is very competitive, right? So there's so many people competing for even though data science jobs is very popular, but still, I think the supply is much bigger than demand right now. So And that's why you need to have solid projects, but at the meantime, don't forget to keep applying for more jobs, so that you get more interviews. And of course, when it comes to resume, you always need to tailor that. And job search requires a lot of patience. And patience meaning you need to apply for more jobs. You don't easily get panicked, right? Make sure you get enough feedback. If you don't hear back from the hiring managers, go do mock interview with your mentor or with someone you know, and get their feedback. Um, Everything we're doing is basically just trying to get prepared. And when that interview opportunity finally come, you want to grab it. You don't want to let it go, right? So the best thing you can do is just get prepared, and work hard on application, job application. All right, so I'm going to briefly talk about our program, and I'll introduce the different learning options in our data science program, and I'll hand it back to Sonia to talk about your learning journey when you join the boot camp. Okay, so again, our data science program is one of the best. So on Switch Up in 2021, it was ranked the #1 in the world. So the best data science boot camp. We also got featured in the CIO magazine as one of the top 10 data science boot camp. In Canada, if you go to Course Compare, we are also among the top data science boot camps. So I think, if you're interested in knowing more, definitely go read our reviews. We have 4.98, average 5-star, rating. And definitely read some of the students' comments. Most of them, I checked out a few of them. A lot of students said that they benefited from the real company projects that helped them eventually land a data science job. So yeah, go check out our ranking on SwitchUp. And in terms of the program, different options, learning options, we have a full-time data science program, and it's a 12-week immersive program. The full-time program includes portfolio project building, real-life projects, as well as career support. We also have a project-only option. So if you have already graduated from a master's program, or you have graduated from other boot camps and you're struggling to get jobs, or you need more real project experience, the project-only program basically will mentor you on the real consulting projects. You will still get trained, and you get to build up your experience on the resume, and we provide career mentorship until you get a job as well. And of course, part-time program, this is a 6 months program, 6 to 7 months. So this is really suitable for students who have a full-time job, who cannot commit to immersive programs, and then they would like to do this at their own pace, and they have a reasonable expectation in terms of when they would like to switch jobs. Usually it's 1 year, between 1 year and 2 years. Most of the students are actually targeting about 12 to 15 months. So it does include portfolio project. It does not, the default package doesn't come with real projects, but this can be purchased as a separate package. So that's why the fee is lower than the full-time program. We realize that a lot of students have full-time jobs. They can't really commit a lot of time to working on real projects, but a lot of students actually will go through the training first, and when they graduate, when they would like to devote time to job search, that's when they're going to get enrolled in the real projects to accumulate experience, and then at the meantime get career mentorship. All right, so I'm going to introduce the full-time program really quickly. 3 months boot camp, and then 6 months of real projects and career mentorship, right? So in the boot camp, we teach students SQL and databases. We focus on MySQL. But the database technology, when it comes to database, I think for data science students, SQL is probably the most important thing, right? Understanding how to manipulate data. And then we teach Python programming, which is the foundation for data science. So we cover data science, machine learning. We mainly focus on classical machine learning algorithms, a little bit deep learning as well, because that's what the job market needs. And then one of the biggest differentiators of WeCloudData's program is that we also, spend about 2 to 3 weeks on big data. So students will need to complete end-to-end big data projects. So we cover Amazon Web Services and Apache Spark, a little bit Hadoop as well, because as you can see in the job market report, I think the top 5, Spark is among the top 5 most popular or most in demand tools or skills required for data science jobs. So we definitely need to learn some big data and cloud computing as well. And then we help the students with portfolio projects. So all of these happens in 3 months, and student will be studying many hours on a daily basis, and sometimes you have to work over the weekend. So you do need to have the right expectations stepping into an immersive program. There's going to be a lot of frustration and a lot of pain you have to go through, because every day you're basically learning new things. But 3 months later, when you look back, you'll feel very rewarding because you achieved a lot, because within 90 to 100 days, you completely changed your skill set, and you will be ready for a junior data science job. However, to make yourself competitive in the job market, right? Completing a boot camp, there are a ton of boot camp graduates who cannot land data science jobs. To be honest, it's very hard. And this is where you need real experience, right, to be added to the resume. So with WeCloudData, you will be able to work on real client projects. It's within the default package, and then students will get career mentorship. So you'll be working with the data scientist on mock interviews, resume building, and they help you with the take-home assignments to give you suggestions. That's the full-time program. Now, for project-only students, you will be working on real projects and you will receive mentorship. So this is pretty straightforward, but you need to complete another mission test. So we need to make sure that you have the right skills. So not everyone will get approved, because we realize that a lot of students actually don't have the right skills. Then you'll probably have to go through training first before you're even qualified for the project only. So you don't need to know everything in order to join the project only, because you need to be very comfortable learning things on the fly. But if you don't even want to go through a boot camp because you have invested a lot of time self-learning, or have done a boot camp, or you graduate from a master's in data science program, then this is probably the best option you can get, because you don't have to go through a 3 months program. And that 3 months, you're going to use that to work on real projects and accumulate experience. And of course, the main theme tonight is actually the part-time program. We're launching that in October, and also our very first cohort on the West Coast, in Vancouver, in the Vancouver time zone. It's going to be available at the end of November as well. So for those of you who are interested, it's a 6 months part-time program, so you can keep your day job and while studying part-time. So you don't really have to, have a lot of pressure, quitting your full-time job. So you can do this at your own pace, right? 6 months of part-time learning, you devote 10 to 12 hours to attend lectures and labs. We still need to spend quite a bit of time, on a weekly basis to work on exercises and build your portfolio projects. Again, we cover the same content. In terms of the full-time, part-time program, the curriculum is exactly the same. The delivery schedule is different. And the real project is not included as in the default package, but we have a lot of students, after they finish the 6 months program, after they get the certification, they are going to, enroll in the real projects. That's when they get more serious about job search. But some students will defer this even to like a year later, because they feel like, even after 6 months of training, they would like to, just do more exercise and just, do a little bit slowly at their own pace. And then they will come back later to work on real projects and receive career mentorship when they actually start to think about career switch. You've seen this. Sonia has explained this slide. In general, as you can see here, data science jobs are not for complete beginners. 30 to 40% of the 45% of the jobs are targeting people who have more than 4 or 5 years of experience. Those are senior positions. And about 55% of those jobs, right, require between 1 to 3 years of experience. And WeCloudData's program, are targeting those students who would like to, get a junior to intermediate level, data science jobs. And some of our students are going to get senior data scientist job right after graduation, but they cannot do this without the real company project experience on their resume. So this is, what we're best at. But just to set the right expectation, we will not be able to provide or train, turn everyone into a senior data scientist, because we do need to have realist expectations. And again, experience is the key to job search success, right? So WeCloudData will help students with portfolio project, real client project, as well as the mentorship. Just to add a little bit more details on the mentorship side, the mentors are data scientists or data science managers who work in the industry. They will help you review the resume, and they will help you, modify your resume, or, couple of times until you start to get really good response rate. They help you review a project, portfolio project. They help you with mock interview. And sometimes, they do referral, but WeCloudData has referral programs as well. It's free. It comes with the program and tuition. And then your mentor will be able to help you with negotiation. So we've helped a lot of students, to negotiate salary, or giving them advice. Yeah, that helps students significantly increase their base salary. This is an updated, chart that shows, where our students are after graduation. Some of them went to big tech. A lot of them work in different industries like, financial industries, telecom, retail, and a lot of them work in startups as well. All right, so now I'm going to hand it back to Sonia. She's the program manager. She will be introducing more details about the program timeline and also, the daily and weekly learning schedule.
Thanks, Raha. Before I start on my section, though, do I have any questions from anyone listening before I go on? So I will continue with my part of the presentation there, and hopefully we'll have some time at the end as well to answer any questions that you guys might have. So here I have our overall program timeline. It's similar between the full-time program and part-time, the main differences being how much time you spend on the studying portion. So for the bootcamp, the studying part, instructors and TAs will play a large role in this stage, because they are helping teach our students the core data science skills, so they are prepared for a career in this field. So for our bootcamp program, the full-time one is for 3.5 months, and then for part-time, it's about 6 months. After they finish the studying, so once you've graduated and everything, many of our students will work on client projects. So for full-time students, I believe Shahwa mentioned earlier, but our client projects are part of the program for them. And then if you're taking part-time, it's like an additional add-on if you would like to gain this hands-on experience. So for this part, students will work on a team with a project lead and project manager to deliver these data solutions for the client's problems. And then at the same time, or you can also start it after, our students will be working on their job search and receiving career mentorship from our mentors. So here you'll be receiving one-on-one support. So you'll be meeting with them like once a week, for example, over Zoom. Or whichever platform that they have decided on to receive job search advice, and also how to structure your resume, how to improve interview skills. And, if you need advice in general, they'll be there to help you. After about 6 months or so of both of these, most of our students will be working. So they have landed an offer. So at this point, you'll be like starting with the new job and then, just slowly getting adjusted. So I think Shahwa also talked about this a bit earlier, but I'll just go a bit more in depth on the actual times for each. So like you mentioned, we do have our cohorts in the Eastern time zone. So for both full-time and our part-time program. For our full-time program, the classes are Monday to Friday in the mornings from 9:30 until 12:30 Eastern time. And then in the afternoons and evenings, we have office hours. So during this time, students are able to join the session and ask TAs, our teaching assistants, if they have any questions. And then we do also have labs. So during that time, the TA will be going through a set of exercises with the students, and then you guys will be working along with them. If not that, then you would be working on like a project that we have assigned for you. For the part-time program, it is on Wednesday and Saturdays from 6:30 to 9:30 Eastern time in the evening, and then Saturday 9 to 12 in the morning. And then we do also have the lab on Saturday from 1 to 5. So there is a 1-hour lunch break in between. These office hours in the evenings are also the same that you would get in the afternoons. So you join the session and teaching assistants will be there to help answer or help you debug your any like coding problems that you might have. We do also have our upcoming Pacific time cohort. So that is this November. So the times are the same, but in Pacific time now. So Wednesday and Saturday, 6:30 to 9:30, and Saturday 9 to 12, but in Pacific time. And then Saturdays from 1 to 5, and then same evening office hours. So I do want to talk about the initial meeting before I go into the curriculum with you guys, or at least the skills and tools that you would be learning. So during the initial meeting, our learning journey starts off where we'll be asking you questions to get to know you a bit better, just set some expectations, and also to answer any questions that you may have. So during this time, we want to learn more about your experiences as well as your current knowledge. That way we can also personalize your pre-bootcamp. So for our pre-bootcamp, it is a one-on-one session. So the teaching assistant will be showing you how to use our learning portal and also where to find the materials. Some of you might be starting from scratch, so like learning the materials from the very beginning, and some of you might have some background already. So in that case, we do plan accordingly to adjust the materials and schedule to your learning needs. Because the goal of having you all do the pre-bootcamp is to help you get some exposure to the contents before you start the bootcamp. So for the data science programs, we mainly focus on Python and SQL. There's lots of exercises and videos for you to work through. And then we just make sure that you're familiar with the contents before you start the bootcamp. That being said, we do start teaching from the beginning for the bootcamp as well. So rest assured, you will be reviewing it again. But if you are able to go through the materials beforehand, it definitely does help build a stronger foundation and makes it easier for when you actually join the lectures for those classes. Here, I just have a small Venn diagram, just showcasing like the different skills or fields that fall within data science. So here you'll see that data science is the intersection between math and statistics, computer science, and then domain expertise. And then business intelligence, data engineering, and machine learning are subsets of these. So I won't go too much in depth for this, but I did want to mention that because you see that data science intersects with all of these, then you do need to make sure that you have proficiency in all three of these. So for both full-time and part-time bootcamps, there's many different skills that you will learn and tools to help you achieve all three of these. So in the first few weeks of the program, we have orientation, and then we start off with SQL. So the tools that you would be using for that are for this bootcamp in particular are MySQL and DataGrid. For Python, specifically Python for data science, the tools you would be using for that is using Jupyter Notebooks, as well as different Python packages. So you'll be learning about different data types and data structures, how to work with them, functions, and then how to web scrape as well using Beautiful Soup and Selenium. We do also teach machine learning, which takes up the majority of the program. So for example, working with pandas, so working with tabular data, data visualizations in Python, NumPy, and SciPy, how to do exploratory data analysis, regression, classification, how to do feature engineering, as well as interpreting the results of your machine learning models. I think this part is probably the most important because after you've learned the algorithms and everything, you do want to be able to communicate, what's the insight that you have gotten from that to whoever's like your stakeholder or manager, for example. So essentially telling them, why it's important, why your findings that you have are important. Lastly, I have big data here, which also takes up quite a few weeks of our program. So the tools that you would be learning for that are AWS, so Amazon Web Services, Hadoop, Hive, Athena, QuickSight, and Spark. So these are just the different topics that you would be learning and seeing listed in the tools. I do want to mention that there are a couple of lectures before the machine learning section on the mathematics or stats and linear algebra as well, but more of the focus is on the application side of things. So during the program, you'll have plenty of assignments to practice your skills and make sure you understand the materials, some of which include customer loyalty analysis, web scraping, Twitter sentiment analysis, building your machine learning portfolio, as well as working with big data. After every assignment or assessment, we do provide feedback to let the students know what was done well, perhaps what could be improved on, and also the next steps, just so that you know how you can be constantly improving. We do also include like a code review just to ensure that students are following the best practices as well. So typically these are done for the full-time program, it's done during the afternoons, and then for the part-time program, it's done on Saturday afternoons. We do also have a career week near the end of the bootcamp. So during this time, we'll be having lectures on how to prepare your resume. We'll hold a couple of mock interviews with students, and then we'll also have a peer resume review session, as well as give you tips on focusing on structuring your resume and how to tailor it specifically for data positions. Like we mentioned earlier, we do also have a mentorship program in which we connect students with our alumni or people who are in the field who are currently working to receive that support. And then these are the main points that encompass our program. I do see a question in the chat: what percentage of the course will cover the big data subject? So for the part-time program, I believe it's around 10 weeks or so. So I would say quite a large proportion. For context, like our sorry, not 10. Let me quickly check because I remember it for full time, but yeah, while I am quickly checking for context, our full-time program, out of the 14 to 15 weeks, we cover it over 2 weeks. Oh, okay, for full-time. So the entire program is 14 weeks long, and then of those 14 weeks, 2 weeks is dedicated to big data. I hope that answers your question. Okay, great. For those of you who are wondering, for part-time, it's around 7 to 8 weeks for big data. Okay. So let me move on to the next. So just a quick summary of the overall career support of your journey. So during these 6 months, you would be building your portfolio. So, like adding the projects that you've worked on during the program to your like GitHub, for example, or if you've joined our real client projects, you would be working on that. During that time, we would suggest practicing your coding skills regularly so that you can ensure that you are remembering everything and just getting like regular practice in. So for example, LeetCode and HackerRank are great for those. We do also have like regular practice sessions during the bootcamp as well. And then typically it is after the bootcamp. So once you've graduated, so you've like achieved the grade requirements and you've handed in all of your assignments, then that's after that is the point where we assign you to a mentor. So you'll have a kickoff session. You'll be connected with the mentor over email, and then they will set up a time to speak with you. And then from there, you guys can both work out what times you want to meet and the things that you want to cover. They'll ask for your resume or your portfolio so that they can look at it beforehand, so they can suggest what things you might need to improve on or work on before the meeting as well. And then you'll see like during the period of the next 6 months, the mentor will be checking in with you and you will be checking in with them as well, regularly, or, like once every 1 to 2 weeks, for example. Some students I know do tend to have more of that support when they land like an interview, because they want to get like help with doing mock interviews, or they have more questions about like the job search process. So that's when they may have more interview support, doing like mock interviews with the mentor. And then if needed, they might make some So yeah, this is the overall summary of what the career mentorship program looks like within like the 6 months after the program. And then the mentors are able to help you with like salary negotiations. As I've also spoken with quite a few mentors as well. And I think the support that they are able to help provide our students also gives them the confidence to be able to ask for what they deserve as well. Okay. So if you're interested in learning more about the skills and tools that you'd be using in data science, we do have diploma and certificate programs like we mentioned earlier. And that was the point of our presentation today, to help you further your understanding and transition into a career in this field. All of these programs here do have career mentorship so that you can also connect with a mentor and learn from their expertise. So these are the upcoming cohorts. If you're interested in full-time, that does, the next one does begin in January, so a little while from now, but you would be working on the pre-boot camp after registration. And then for our part-time programs, the most recent upcoming one is in mid-October, so October 19th. And then we do also have our West cohort in Pacific time, which would be in November 2022. I do have a couple of questions in the chat. Is there any guarantee for finding a job? I know you have the supports. So with regards to finding jobs, like you mentioned, we do have a lot of career supports. There isn't, I'm not too sure what you mean by guarantee, but like, so we do have lots of different supports that we provide in terms of career mentorships, and then we do also have referrals as well. But these are like for you to go in for an interview with a company. So quite a few of our students have actually gotten more jobs through our referrals, because we do work with a lot of clients. So they share their job descriptions with us, and then in turn we share it with our students, and they know that they're able to get a lot of high quality talents from us because you guys have gone through our curriculum. So you know all the tools that you'll be needing. Do we have any partners who can offer a job? In that sense, no, but again, we do have the supports to help you find one.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'd like to explain a little bit here. So in terms of guarantee, no one can guarantee job, right? So the so-called guarantee job with some other institution basically means guarantee of refund, but they don't never guarantee a job. No one can guarantee a job. because the students will need to work really hard as well, and we provide the support and learning environment for the students. Yeah, and in terms of working with partners, we do have a lot of partners, but they don't offer a job. Like we will do referrals, and the student will still need to go through job interviews and get the mentorship support. So basically, you will need to be good enough to get a job. So we can always offer career support and job referrals, but it doesn't get.
Sorry, Shaha, I think I accidentally muted you.
Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah, we've actually worked with students in the past that if you're I guess my point here is that WeCloudData operate in a very different way. So the quote unquote guarantee, we guarantee that student will have real experience on their resume, so they will be very competitive in the job market. And once the Beam Data consulting experience is on your resume, it's going to stay there for the rest of your life. We can always provide real project reference check. So that not only helped our students with the first job, when they move on to the second job, get jobs from big tech, sometimes we get reference check as well. So it's not going to help you with just the first job. It's going to increase your basically data science, work experience by 6 months to 12 months. And you can get a senior job a lot sooner. So you basically save almost a year. But we expect the students to work, equally as hard as well. So then we can, both become successful.
Thanks, Shaha. We do have another question here. So the question says, many jobs requires a graduation or degree in computing, statistics, economics, or similar profiles. Would you be able to provide us with an indication of range of base pay for such career switching students? For those who don't have such degrees and just go out for a job search with our bootcamp.
Yeah, that's a good question. So we actually have, as I said, 30% of the students are coming from non-STEM background. So they probably come from like business, accounting, from many business related background. So we have helped many students like that found jobs. In terms of the base salary, the interesting thing that we found out is that having a computer science, I can only speak to our student base. Having computer science is not necessarily going to guarantee that you're going to earn more than your non-STEM background classmate. That's very interesting. That probably only happened at WeCloudData because employers, when they look at our graduates' resume, because they have real work experience, doing consulting projects, degree education becomes less relevant. From employers' perspective, you have proven yourself once, because you work in a real project setting. So your project performance, the reference check coming from your project manager, is actually more useful than the degree itself. Sometimes we see students coming from non-STEM background. They can communicate better, explain things better. They get much better pay. The only but like students coming from PhD background, because of the advanced degree they have, they usually do have 10 to 20 grand difference in terms of the base pay. For some companies, at least as far as I know in Canada, if you have a PhD, you're probably not going to earn less than like 90 grand. So that's just the starting point, regardless of which program you graduate from. So, but in general, I would say students coming from non-STEM background, not computer science or statistics, there's no difference in pay. However, if the degree matters, like if you have a bachelor's compared to someone who have a master's degree, there will be slight difference in terms of the base salary. But which program you're graduated from, it's not a big factor. Does this program cater well for those who currently work in tech within analytics and are looking for upgrade to data science? For context, I'm a senior data analyst currently. We're wondering whether, yeah, we do. So our curriculum can be tailored a little bit. So even though the teaching schedule, is not going, won't is not tailored, but we do have advanced content such as big data. So whether you're coming from analytics background or not, most of the data analysts probably haven't worked with Apache Spark and cloud. So that's going to offer some advantage when you graduate. And also, I think job success depends on which mentor you work with. So if you're already more senior, we will find a data science manager or director who can work with you and give you. You can send us a request, but we can find someone who's at the more senior level to help you. But not like someone who's working as a data science director is not always going to be the best mentor. What we found out is that for students who just need a lot of support on technical quizzes or take-home assignments, it's actually someone who work as a data scientist who recently become a data scientist who have gone through the process will be a lot quicker when it comes to supporting you. And someone who's working as a director, if they're less technical in the last 2 years, they may not be able to give you the best support from a technical perspective. But if you want to become a senior data scientist, maybe they will help you because they have a lot of insight. They have a lot of experience that they can give you. So choosing the right mentor is very important, and also choosing the right project, right? So we have students who has worked as a manager of data I think he's a statistician, but he's the senior data scientist at Bank of America now. Samir, he come from a stats background, and he worked in data analytics for many years, but he's super skilled in R. So I think half of the material he's already gone through them, but he asked more advanced questions, and we just provide more support that he needs. So yeah, so it can be tailored a little bit, and then in the end, I think the biggest value you're gonna get out of the bootcamp is which mentor you work with and what type of projects you work on. So we have students who specifically want to work on deep learning projects. We should be able to offer that to the students, but there are also data science students who said, well, after I've done this bootcamp, I now realize that I'm actually more into data visualization. So we're not going to force the students to work on machine learning projects. So we're going to find, Power BI, data visualization related projects for the students. So, and these go directly onto your resume, and that will change the direction a little bit in terms of job search, because that's going to make the student's resume either more machine learning focused or more, data analytics focused, right? So, yeah, a long way to answer your question, but hopefully that's helpful. No problem.
Thanks, Rahul. I think that was actually, I just have one more slide here, which was just a couple of resources that I wanted to share if you are new to transitioning into a career in data science. So these are a couple of websites and stuff that you can visit to just begin on those. Again, the slides will be shared with you after this session through email, as well as the recording, so that you can watch it again. But I will leave the rest of the time, which is like until 8:30, so the next 15 minutes, for all of you to ask any questions that you might have. There's a student who's, or sorry, attendee.
Oh,
who is
missed that
asking.
question. So I'm not sure which region are you from. Income sharing is currently available in United States. In Canada, we don't have a partner for income sharing, so you have to pay upfront. There will be installed payment options. In Canada, there are a couple of options if you're from Canada. So you can get student line of credit from Bank of Montreal. So the rate is really good, and you pretty much just need to pay $100 a month in the first couple of months when you go through the program. And after graduation, you start to pay the principal. I think they give you 3 years, but I forgot the details. Another option is just go with a financing company such as PayBright that we have collaboration with, or if you recently got unemployed, I think within the last 6 months or so, there will be an option called Second Career. It used to be called Second Career, or now it's called a Better Job Ontario. So if you're Ontario resident, then you will be able to, basically the government is paying for your tuition. So these are some of the options, and you can set up install payment if you're paying yourself directly. In the US, go to the website and check out the income sharing agreement. So we work with a partner that offers this option. Oh, cool. So if you're from Ontario, then either Second Career or I think Bank of Montreal is a really good option. The rate is definitely lower than a financing company. You're welcome.
Thanks, Rahul. Do we have any more questions? So I'll stick around for like the next 10 minutes or so for anyone if you do think of any more questions. Otherwise, thank you for joining our session today. I hope you were able to learn a lot as well as, have a better idea of what are the different options for your pursuit in more education. I don't think I have anything more to say, but Amir, do you have something you want to add?
So I just want to appreciate everyone for attending the event. We're also going to share the recordings with you guys. Whoever actually sign up for our meetup team, they can get access to the recording. Let me share with you our meetup page link so you can go and find more about us, about the upcoming webinars. Thank you very much, everyone. We will stay in touch.
Thanks for joining. Maybe I'll actually just end it a bit earlier if there aren't any questions, but if you guys do think of any questions later on, please do feel free to reach out to us at info@weclouddata.com as well. Thank you. Okay, have a good evening, everyone.